So, hello guys, welcome to my video. I know the upload schedule is quite bad, but here I am. So, today we will be looking at the cipher that I've prepared, and I have, how you can see by the year, it's 1947, so way over time to invade the Soviet Union usually, but I prepared, like extremely, with meta tanks and meta doctrines and meta tactics. We are gonna absolutely destroy the Soviet Union. My original plan was to do this in summer, but then I realized I was I was so sigma that I'm gonna start my offenses in the mid of winter. Definitely not because the Soviet Union declared war on me. So let's start. So this is our political situation. We control basically the entire world. I went on a bunch of side quests besides the communist world, and we're gonna absolutely destroy them. Now, industry-wise, even though I gave the Soviet Union a bunch of time to prepare because I thought that so longer I give them time, that so more they're gonna be prepared and the stronger they're gonna be. They have quite an army, how you can see. We have just 400, but we have more quality over quantity. When you look, yeah, this is our, and this is the, yeah, do, do I need to say something? I think there's a big difference in here. Then to my, uh, I'm using normal, very normal infantry. I'm a bit sad that I could have definitely added some things, but I didn't, and I'm not gonna do it now. So we just have that basic as infantry. Now to our tanks, they're quite special. Oh, we have good soft attack. We are not pierceable, have a bunch of breakthrough, and our stats go crazy. Editor, put picture. We're gonna do this because this is gonna be a bit of a long one. Um, it's gonna play fast, and I'm just gonna say what I wanted to do in that situation and what was going through my head and why I did these decisions, and we will analyze that. So enjoy, and please like and sub. This is where we start. We analyze our position. Now the weather is a bit bad, but that ain't stopping us because our tanks are good. We have flamethrowers, we have everything that we need. Now we test the waters. Our goal is to reach Riga over that railway so we are able to encircle the entire peninsula of damn, that was 2000 soft attack of Lithuania, and we just reinforcing them. Now we get that over across the river double side attack, so the river penalty is not that bad. Now, it's getting snowy, but we want to quickly push. Also, we want to close this pocket here before the set of winter. So we get it, even though the stats aren't amazing, we still get through it. We reinforcement them, luckily. Then we ourselves get reinforcement, but luckily we are able to pin our enemies and then uh, send some units there to stop and hold the line. Now we are trying to close it and continue with our offenses towards Riga. We pin the 8 stack that's moving in our way because we don't want to get stuck in this no supply land. Keep the momentum rolling, that's very important with offensives. Don't choke. Now, instead of pausing, we take a risk, we go even further to cut our enemies more off guard, and we are trying to reach up in Estonia, so we have a supply hub there and are set for the set of winter. Then what's important is that we take all the coastline so they are not able to flee over the ports. Then we also close this pocket so our units are strapped up, and we have inflicted major casualties. Now, if we continue to go, we realized that our air is not up. That was quite a rookie mistake, but luckily we noticed it. So we sent some air over there, yeah, and we distribute it so there's no big chances of accidents. That's what happens if uh, the airports are overcrowded. We try to push here to force another encirclement, but our units are tied up and we try to push here. Even though with the supply, our stats are still kind of amazing. I think now we close this pocket as quickly as possible so we can use our units rather strip the supply hub in minutes from our enemy. Now we try to push here with no supply. Of course, the in hash penalties doesn't go as well. Oh, the enemy has just too many reinforcements. We close that port quickly so no one can flee and our units are also sent. Now we close also that pocket. And now there are units there. They are in the port as we expected it. Now we close our pockets here in Lithuania. Yeah, and we manage it with is also quite some hefty casualties for the Soviets. Now we got like this peninsula, our photo tier, which is now connected to the front, just as we planned. Now, close to encirclements, of course, and we redistribute our forces that got stuck in Lithuania after they had no orders. Us, exactly. Now we try to push again here, yeah, and this time we succeed due to the fact that we just had the supply hubs were connected and the railways were connected to the supply hubs, and we were also way more prepared and not so exhausted. Now, the weather is actually not bad, it's just a bit stormy, so we might try to like in those flatlands, but there is a pretty hefty river here. Now we try to go another encirclement. The focus tree at this point isn't important in the late game, just doing some navy for the means, and we absolutely destroy them here. Now we expand the pocket, always try to create bigger pocket, but don't try to overstay it. You gotta find the middle of things. And now some are escape, but we got an extra 7 divisions there. Do some research, it's all kind of useless at this point, and here we are able to get another encirclement hopefully after we code in the Italians. And now, checking on our supplies, they're kind of okay, but we want to plan an offensive there and check the enemy supplies. Now, as I said, some units are still stuck in here, especially tank swarms, because they are not assigned to the front line, but still get the front line boosts like the planning bonus. So you can micro them better and get the planning bonus, but the downside is they obviously don't assign to the front line, so you gotta do that manually. In multiplayer, there's a co-op, and you usually aren't the one that also is doing the infantry. Other people are mass doing infantry like miners like Hungary and Romania. Now, we kind of see this pocket, and like we said, we redistribute our forces as we organize them. Now, close to the encirclement, of course. Now, we planned the encirclement. We actually are going to do this one, but I'm a bit skeptical over the river, so we are gonna send another one here. So if the river one gets stuck with supply, we can use that one. And like we see, there are some supply issues. It couldn't push that quickly, and now we are able to do a pincer attack from 2 sides and uh, outmaneuver the enemy, what leads to a bigger encirclement. If we just did it with one unit, would make this a success. And yeah, also now we have created another salient which we are hopefully able to form, but first of all we want to trap these units between those 2 lakes. So first we push up there and also find a place where we have good supply and are able to attack the enemy from multiple sides, of course. Now, after we do this. Some more kind of useless focusing research. I don't know. Now, in the Caucasus, we actually have a border through Turkey, and I've dedicated mountaineers, but due to the fact that the Italians are sucking up our supplies, and I don't quite sure the reason and can build more supplies, that front is kind of still for now. Now, we try to push here to the lake, so I said so they're trapped between the rapes, and it's technically encircled. Both great, we managed to do that and push to the next supply hub. Also, we try to push to Leningrad, and look how early we can do that because we did that maneuver in the early game. And exactly. Now we go here and there, and we are able to hopefully create another encirclement. And what the fuck is this? The fuck? It just happened. No, what? Oh, whatever that was, probably a decision that made them able to annex the Balkans, even though we controlled them. Quite weird paradox. Now we, of course, have to reassign everything and organize everything again because it all got disorganized. Probably also banned in multiplayer. Doesn't seem fair at all. Now we activate all of these things. This is like events who wins the air war can get quite annoying. And we completely forgot about our bonus that we get, and that would have helped in the first months extremely, like plus 10 armored attack and armor speed, quite useful, and breakthrough. Yeah, another powerful buff. Now we are able to create another encirclement there, which is great for us. Every unit that we encircle is the one that we don't find. Also, we strip the supplies down there, which makes it way better for us. Now here we also are able to hopefully find another encirclement, but I have seen that a bunch of units are stacked on the tile. Maybe we should let them walk in. In is what I was kind of hoping aching. Now here, important is that we take Netherlands quick so we don't get stuck in no supply land. Then here the salient is pretty obvious towards Kiev, and that's gonna be a very important supply hub for us. And getting across the river overall or without supply would be kind of impossible. So now here the salient, we are gonna try to close it from multiple sides. Through our breakthrough and planning bonus, this should work. We assign our air zones. We aren't fighting more in the um, Romanian air zone and more in the Ukrainian and Belarusian one at this point, completely destroying the air due to our tech advantage and overall better fighters than the AI could ever make at this point. Uh, Great. Now we are able to get to Leningrad considering we completely outblitzed them. Now here we are able to do a pincer tag, what is able to move them out. But we let some units move in, so we have more to feast on. Exactly, we need let them move in. So clean that encirclement. Now go along the area. Here I don't like that we are so pushed onto non-even area, so we try to push down. Here we get the supply hub that's located there with our tanks. Now we go there and circle some divisions, but not all of them. Now we go up here and create another pocket around the supply hub that hopefully gets connected in 7 days. Exactly, we got it. That now we are able to hopefully close this pocket after so many people wanted to walk in, and we are able to quite easily. So now we close the pocket, of course, pin out the divisions and prepare another attack from Minsk to the next supply hub along the railway. That's pretty important, so we can set up another spearheads for more advances and in Socrates overall, we try to push here, but the supply and our allies aren't really, and it's kind of still terrible terrain to push in, even with mountaineers and no on all of the supply that we are missing. Now we try to focus again on the main front, go up there, try it and close of course the encirclement and get those units that are doing nothing, get them back onto the front. No vacation for you. Now we see quite a good approach around railway line, so we get our good units into position and absolutely move them up there. So through normally on the right path with shift. That's important. Not that they are not on the railway. That would be quite unfortunate. Now we try to kind of notice our situation here. Now there was a bug for some reason that the units just disappeared. They just disappeared. I just loaded the game new and then they came back. I don't know. It's quite late in the game. I don't expect peak performance. So we get our supply up there, which is important. We'll get connected in 6 to 7 days. Not funny. And yeah, that's kind of it. We push there kind of aggressively, but it doesn't matter. We are getting way more important encirclements here. Like these encirclements are massive. Like we are completely annihilating them at this point. And if we are able to pull this off, the Red Army will never be able to recover from this. Like this is gonna be our Magnus Opus. This exactly. Now we pinned them there so we can go there, but suffering from success, we pinned them so good that they have to surrender and get out of the salient. Yeah, research some useless stuff like always. Now we get all of the war support so we don't have to do it because we are so locked in into the flow state. Now we get in there. They'll try to close those along the railway, which is pretty important with our nice soft attack armor mean tanks. Now, use the chaos along the front, expand as much as possible. We try to get small lengths so we don't get hard countered there against the supply thing. Now, even though the terrain is terrible here with the marshes, we aren't here suffering and starving. It are the Soviets. So we close all of these magnificent pockets one after another, like this is on a chain. And we go on and go on. Now we are able to pin that division, pin that, and we are able to close the pocket, which is quite massive. If now we see a little pocket here, try to close it. Everything that we can get is everything that we need. Now I have quite some divisions here stacked, and we try to, after we annihilate these encirclements that we created, to keep our momentum and reorganize while on the move. Now, we expand everywhere that we can here in the Ukraine, in the Crimean Peninsula. Also try to make another pocket close. Now we move into Smolensk with hopefully no opposition. Go here create another, close another pocket. And reassign our units because they have been getting lost from the last encirclements. Since there's always something that you gotta do. Ooh. Now our allies, the British, have landed there. And we are able to hopefully get through the industrial zone of the Ukraine. Now we are able to push there, create another pocket hopefully in so. Oh, now we can try to always close our pockets and be on the lookout for the next supply hub from which we can do the next spearhead, from which we can create the next pocket to the next um, encirclement. Now, it's quite important that we move quick. The weather is bad, but but the Soviets are massively outnumbered after we destroyed so many of the divisions in our encirclements. Now, Moscow is almost in our sights, but we still gotta concentrate. The flat edges of the Ukraine are pretty open, and I see a lot of divisions that could be passed around the Crimea, create some save files, of course, so the game doesn't crash at this point. Would be quite sad. Now we go to the next supply hub and also go in every direction, just expand everywhere. There's no big resistance against a mega heavy, mega meta tanks.
So to create more encirclements, double encirclement, they are almost created. Our focuses don't matter at this point. We just do a continuous, so our puppets can visit will become our bit. Now, exactly, we get all these VPs. We want to uh, go to Moscow. We can now almost snake to Moscow, even though we have full call-up. It's quite crazy how low uh, the casualties and the war score are. The casualties not. We actually have quite some casualties. I have looked in here and through our tank code, our um, encirclements that we are able to create. Our encirclements different from 7k to 107k. So that's really great. 170k, of course. Like our the losses for the Soviets are in the millions currently. Really going far. Now we do some settings for the atmosphere and go on. So we activate our battle plan because at this point most of the tiles are actually quite empty because we have destroyed the enemy so hard and are creating so many pockets that it's not even fun to play as the other side anymore. We snake to Moscow without any opposition and also get to Kaliningrad. Now, to destroy any last resistance that might import us on our journey to victory. And even though the supplies are bad and bad terrain, we still have okayish stats on our tanks. Could be better. 2000 is what I'm aiming for. 2500 is sweet. So we get our at this the low tier combat rifts are always what gets me across rivers. Now we try to create another double encirclement on Moscow. Uh, Now we kind of obliterate them, so I don't even know if we got them all. Even I seen that in the recording, and now we are just trying to move into the riches of the Caucasus, get that juicy oil on all those VPs at this point, and try to really. We do not care about old the efficiency of our life saving, more about our destruction, and that will bring to the Soviet Union. And our KD is pretty good with a 20 to 1. And so we create our vice commissariat for more eco and less resistance and more manpower for us, because that's the only thing that we have in limited amounts. Now, pass to Stalingrad without expecting any great resistance. The Soviet army is completely destroyed everywhere, unorked, everywhere gaps. We could exploit so much. But we don't even need to exploit so much. That's how weak they are after our great encirclements that we did with our superior tactics. Now, uh, through the flat terrain that's kind of unsupplied, but also we aren't so weak that supply doesn't even matter that much. Of course, it matters like everything. Tommy K statement here, but our tanks are just so good compared to anything that the Soviets could give that even with in low supply areas we are able to absolutely destroy them. Now, moving to older VPs at this point, it's Jova. Like just trying to get as many to remove any last specks of the Soviet army that might have existence, and now we are trying to get through the railway with our actually pretty good mountaineers. They weren't able to shine that hard because of the supply, but they are able to actually get. I have a second recording where they get like actually 1000 attack each, which is pretty okay for a 25 with Mountaineer. Now, oh, that's exactly the power, like I said, of having good supply and not finding in bad terrain. Like, we fought so fast that we are just yet in silver because we were so fast that the weather wasn't even able to keep up with us. Now we are trying to get fast as Baku and also creating another encirclement in the mountain region in here. Now we are able to capture Baku, and the Soviets still don't want to surrender, even though the victory for us is imminent. And we tried to get every little victory point. We were so tunnel visions on the small victory points that we forgot the big obvious one because after Moscow, there's a big victory, relatively big victory point, and after that, there's also a very big victory point, but that's really like far away. So I didn't notice that. I thought after that there was just nothing, just the Euros, but no, there wasn't. No, we tried to circle everything that we got, get to our last pushes, and just look our motorized, absolutely destroying them like we did. And at this point, I think it's completely Java. And now to the live reaction.
No, just simply no. No, no. Paraguay, really? China? Okay, I guess China. But who cares? Like, who really cares? We did it. We um we absolutely destroyed the Soviet Union. The rest of them are easy to get, just a bit of a pain with the supply, but it will happen. And then yeah, South America, I like have the basically the entire world is mine. Like besides like China, but they are easy to cap. Like they have shouldn't have a big army. Yeah, just 1 mil. Yeah, so just 1 mil, and yeah, Paraguay is a joke. So yeah, that was kind of it. And yeah, then you couldn't like see the tanks through like anywhere like fully to their potential because the supply in the terrain in the Soviet Union was just terrible. We were moving faster than the supply was ever able to keep up with what now we can test. Yeah, this is how it should look like. Just totally destroyed that. Now we can also go like over there and do like a double attack from two sides. Look, this is also like on the defense they are not that good as on the offense. Like, or yeah, this is exactly what I mean. Like if you do this is like these stats. They're just crazy. Absolutely, like the more I think that unit just got uh, fucked. Like really, like I think it doesn't exist anymore. Now when this uh, takes a long time for this unit to retreat. Are there any more units in here? You know, we are out of our supply zone, and this greatly reduces the combat effectiveness. Like if we just look over to here, already look, there's a already like 1,000 attack gone due to like the fact that our organization is lower with and okay, the supply is not that bad, but already there are like little factors adding up like that make it just worse. What's really important is that like I have a really good general, like I get 22 attack from Erwin Rommel, then also oh like movement and entrenchment speed is crazy on him. Then Desert Fox, he's already very good in the desert, and then like Panzerleader, which is like plus 16 armor attack. And then why did I choose this instead of that? You might ask. That's because the armored division themselves really don't give that much defense compared to the um, motorized and mechanized, and also there's just a 15% versus 10% is always going to be better, and the one single mechanized battalion has more defense than a good tank battalion, and because tanks are more made for offense than defense, and it's just 15% versus 10%, so not really comparable. Oh yeah, that was kind of it. And also to the tanks themselves, like they have like, of course their soft attack has to be like at least 1000, and I would recommend the 30 or with just that overall it's better, it fits in every tile 2 times, up besides mountain, but you don't fight in mountain with tanks anyway. The organization is pretty good through doctrine and stuff. Then it also increases your overall HP, which is very good when you force attack and you lose less equipment overall. Oh, then to the production action, as you can already see here, the numbers don't add up, but important is that the battalion itself does. I use an armor meme because 40% of the armor is calculated through the highest armor, so that's why I use a heavy tank, because they have more armor, so I get way more armor for way cheaper. You could of course remove the recon because it just really adds a bit of adds, but that's really not just does some movement, which I like, but um, of course you could really replace it with logistical companies, which would have been very useful in the Soviet Union, but we were able to overrun them without it. And field hospitals are very overpowered because they increase your HP by 10% and give you some trickle back. But what's the most important is the experience loss. You lose way, way, way less experience, what makes your tanks way more overpowered. Like if you see, like most of my tanks, they aren't really like trained that good. And you might say, why aren't they trained that good? This simple question: reliability. Even though reliability itself is in combat not important, and overall you don't lose really that many tanks when you move, even if you're in low supply, which you shouldn't be. When you train them, of course the division will, all of them will attrition, and then you lose more equipment, and especially with tanks you don't want that because the tanks are usually way more expensive, and also, oh, if your viability is very low, you while training you lose so much equipment that when you stop training you lose XP again, what makes it 10 times more difficult to get like uh to a regular. um, that's why most of my are untrained, because I let them pile up in like the division queue, because here they can train without any attrition until trained. But of course, like this goes way, way up. I don't know if I have any like real veterans, maybe like some tanks from the Spanish Civil War, or no, I don't see them. Wait, yeah, they aren't anymore. Like you get up to a third 57% uh, bonus on attack and other stuff, which is massive compared to like the minus 25 that you get if your divisions are freshly trained, which makes your divisions just 2 times better. So you could go like from two from 2000, like we have seen, to like 4000 easily if you do this. Is then when we are already talking about this, I want you to show you our designs for the tanks themselves. This is kind of the even though I don't have not used this is a design that I wanted to use. It's just a heavy tank SPG. It's just made to max out as much as to get so much soft attack as possible. Hard attack, piercing don't matter. We are in the multiplayer, and to get real much armor so they don't pierce us overall, and we get a bunch of breakthrough because armor actually gives breakthrough, what is huge. But as you have already seen, the our reliability is very low, and if you are a bit on the budget, you could justify getting more reliability with easy maintenance, because it also makes your tank cheaper by 7.5%. But if you have it, just do this. It's just more soft attack overall. And even though you might be tempted to add in with armor storage, just don't do it. It's a use. You waste like one slot here, and you don't have that many. Then armored support vehicles aren't important. Then this is kind of the meme that I used. Uh, the only thing that's important here is to get as much uh, ha at much hardness and armor, and maybe breakthrough. So I used everything like 30 armor, maxed armor, then used armored skirts because they give you also more armor, then sloped armor, which gives you 25% armor, and all the other tricks in the book. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, this is like the same as the um, SPG just as a tank. You see like there's a massive difference in the soft attack, like up to 40 soft attack, which is actually quite crazy. The thing is why I even have this design is because you get way more breakthrough, and breakthrough is actually quite important in combat because it's like your defense on combat. So if you have very low breakthrough, you take a bunch of damage from the enemy's attack. So sometimes you want to also keep a mix of both, but you should tend more to the SPG sides when you're already doing SPGs. Now, this is our kind of budgeted medium tank. This was a medium tank designed to be very budgetable. It was designed like, as you see by the name, it was really designed in the early phases of the game, and I didn't really bother with changing it because it did the job quite well. It got good amount of soft attack. It was cheap, kind of reliable compared to the other designs. And of course, we can we could easily remove this and add something else. We could make this overall, considering the resources that we have, make this just way harder. So so we the average armor just goes up overall, but we could also add other things. The thing is, compared to heavy tanks, medium tanks cannot have that many second and small turrets and cannons, which make them a bit worse. Yeah, that were kind of the thing. With the flame tank, it's important that you make it as cheap as possible and as have as much breakthrough as you are able to. Oh, and you should keep it quite fast so it doesn't slow your divisions down overall. You add breakthrough, then of course the flamethrower, then you could change this, of course. Then these things, they just give you more um, armor than this to make it cheaper. And then overall you could also just add more armor, which the armor itself doesn't do that much. Like we went from 40 to like we just increased like 20 armor, which isn't like wow. It's more like really the breakthrough that we gain through this. We doubled our breakthrough by a large extension, and also if we like add this, we also get more breakthrough. But you can see this is almost getting as expensive as our medium tank. That's why I didn't do it. And yeah, it are kind of the designs that I used. Then this was just an heavier design with heavy tanks, but something that you could always kind of do is remove and add like the heavy VS3 into here, so you have like just get way more soft attack, but of course you lose some breakthrough, defense, and orc in HP. Although that's the reason. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something and you found it entertaining, and I hope you are able to, like I said, almost every time, like and subscribe and leave a comment. So
عباس اكرنج